Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about before you quit your medical billing and coding program, watch this. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, if you find yourself in this space of you've signed up for a medical billing and coding program and you're saying, Blue, this is just, it's not working out. I'm tired of this and I'm not learning anything. I feel so confused all the time. My teacher doesn't help me. I just want to give up the whole thing. You know what? It's just not even worth it to me. I want you to stop. I want you to stop and take a minute. And I want you to hear me out for the things that I'm going to tell you in this video. Okay? It's not going to cost you nothing to just take a minute, to just take a breath and think through what you're thinking that you want to do for yourself, okay? First of all, do not quit. That's number one. Number two, you need to think about what is the reason that you wanted to get into medical coding. Why did you want to learn it in the first place? And you say, well, Blue, no, it's not that it's the school. No. Why do you want to do this in the first place? What is driving you? Everybody should have this. Whether it is, I just want to get out of food service, I don't want to do retail anymore, I'm tired of doing housekeeping, I want to live a better life, I want to have a better job, I want something with stability, I want something to challenge me, I want to be able to provide for my kids, I want to be able to provide for myself, I want to be able to do vacations and go, places that I couldn't go before because I was working in food service or retail or whatever. So with this said, look at your reasoning. Now you take that reasoning and we're going to put it to the side for a second. Now let's look what's going on with the school and what is the reason that you are wanting to give up. If it's because you're saying, well, the teacher won't help me. Okay, so the teacher won't help you. Sometimes in these schools, teachers are great. And then other times teachers are not so great because you have to remember that a person who's teaching is somebody that is, especially if they're doing it full time and they don't have a coding job, this is somebody that is just teaching at the school. And sometimes they don't always know how to teach. They just have the education requirements and sometimes maybe they have the experience as far as like coding and stuff. So that is what is getting their foot in the door. Every single person that is a teacher is not meant to be a teacher. Okay, that's number one. Okay, now the thing about it is that you are going to look at your experience with this particular teacher different from everybody else because everybody's going to have different experiences. Some people are very self-directed, so they don't really rely on their teacher. If you're somebody that relies on your teacher and your teacher is failing to meet your expectations or to meet you in the middle or to even help you, or maybe they get aggravated with you so quickly for asking questions, there's a disconnect in the personalities, okay? This is going to even happen in the real world when you're out there in the coding, in the coding arena. It's going to happen with your coworkers. It's going to happen with your lead. It's going to happen with your supervisor, with other providers, the surgeons, you know what I mean? Like the PAs and the NPs, it's going to happen with them as well. So if you're saying that that's the reason that you want to quit and give up is because the teacher's no good, that's not a good enough reason. It's not a good enough reason, especially when this learning medical coding is something that you can do and that you can learn on your own from books. It's something that you can learn from books. It's something that if you put the time into it, that knowledge will build. If you read like you're supposed to, read those coding guidelines, learn your medical terminology, your anatomy and pathophysiology, learn your pharma. If you're learning those things, it's going to make all the words in this advanced medical documentation make so much more sense. And that's what's going to help you be less dependent on your teacher. Because if your teacher is bad, it doesn't mean that you should quit. It doesn't mean that you can't learn. All it's going to say is, I don't have this resource that I thought I was going to be able to have. So now I'm going to have to be more self-reliant and try to figure it out on my own. And this is a good skill to build. It is a very good skill to build because everybody's knowledge base is different. And so what some people may understand quickly, you may need a little bit more time. But the great thing about this industry is there's lots of entrepreneurs in this industry, right? Which means there's about anything and everything that you need, you can find somebody to help you. You can go on LinkedIn, you can find a mentor. A mentor will help you for free. If you're posting a question, you're saying, I'm a new medical coding student, my teacher doesn't really want to help me, but I do have this question. Can anybody shed some light on this? You give the question without complaining. You will see that there will be lots and lots of people to come over there and try to offer some bit of advice, you know? So that's what you're looking for when you're looking for a mentor, all right? And then just posting those questions, you'll get that dialogue, all right? But if you're saying, oh, you start complaining, your teacher's not helping you, you paid out all this money, the money that you paid is gone. You're already on the hook for however much you got in student loan, however much your tuition is, you're already on the hook. You're already on the hook. So that money is gone. And we don't want to waste it. All right? We don't want to waste it because there's no sense in wasting it. Just because a teacher didn't work out like you thought it was, it doesn't mean that this is not a valuable lesson that the universe is trying to get you to ready you for the real world. There's a lot of people that want to run immediately from any kind of adversity. So if they don't understand something because the teacher got after them, teacher don't want to help them with their questions, teacher gets aggravated with them, then they choose that reason to run off. Well, I spent $10,000 on the school and I don't care. I'll just, I'll let it go to collections or whatever. No, you need to, number one, pay your debts. Number two, this is something that it's going to be an expensive lesson for you to learn, but you're going to learn this lesson, okay? There's still time to recover from this. So if you learn not to rely on this teacher and you start learning to rely more on yourself, and then you start getting better at reaching out to the community about asking your questions, or if you say, well, Blue, I have a few extra dollars, I think I can hire a tutor. There's lots and lots of tutors on LinkedIn. You can make a post and ask, hey, I need some help and I need a tutor. Does anybody have any recommendations? And you'll see lots and lots of recommendations come up, okay? So that's something that can also help you. You can book however many sessions you want with that person. You want to start with one session? To me, I don't put like a limit. Some people will say, well, you have to book so many sessions in order to get started with them. I don't do that. You want to book 1 hour with me? That's totally fine. We go over, your tutoring needs. Tutoring, though, just so we all are clear, tutoring is where you have a problem and you say, well, like evaluation and management, I need help. I don't understand the table of risk. So you go over that with the tutor. The tutor does not assign you homework. They do not give you assignments and they do not direct you in this way. That's a teacher, okay? You need, if you're going to a tutor, it's because you need something explained to you and the tutor can explain it, okay? The tutor is also not for doing your homework for you. No. And they are also not for doing like work assessments. Don't ever to ask somebody that's a tutor to do that because that's unethical, okay? And quite frankly, disgusting if you ask somebody to do that for you because you get nervous with tests. Every day is going to be a test because it's not multiple choice in the real world, okay? I'm just being very direct with you when I say that, all right? So with that said, okay, now the teacher excuse is out of the way. Well, I don't have enough time to study. Everybody has time to study. If you are not putting in 20 hours per week, this is contributing to you not understanding what you're doing, and which is also contributing to the frustration you feel, which also contributes to you wanting to quit. But we are not going to quit. We're going to take that option off the table. We have to, because this is adulthood. And you're going to do things in adulthood that you don't want to do, that are not fun, that you don't like. but we are going to learn from this experience, okay? I'm sorry that it has to be this way, but this is the way that some of you are going to have to learn, because there's no other way. And unfortunately, especially because a lot of people, like the younger people with the schools, they've had their feelings validated. They've had, no thing where they have to like with the school, and when they earn awards, everybody gets a trophy. No, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way at all. It should be first place, second place, third place, and that's it. No one else gets a trophy. No one else gets a participation trophy at all. So that way there's more value in that. So that way we all learn. You win some, you lose some. But this constant winning thing that we all have to have all the time, it's not part of reality. And so that's why I'm telling you, you're going to feel like you want to give up, but we cannot allow ourselves to give up, because this is a no-fail situation. And now I've already said, if you are stuck, go find a mentor who can help you for free. Go find a tutor who can help you if you have a few extra bucks to spend, okay? That's an investment in you that can help you to learn, all right? But with that said, getting back to the time. If you have time for TikTok, which I know a lot of you do, you'll sit there and scroll all like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. You got time to study. Studying medical billing and coding, or medical coding, takes 20 hours per week, period, end of story. There is no getting out of it. And I don't care if you have a full-time 40-hour per week job. I don't care if you take care of kids, animals, or whatever. You have time to squirrel in 20 hours per week. I'm going to show you how. Start off on Monday. Monday, right? You get up in the morning, 30 minutes, you're getting ready for the day. You're getting ready to go to work. You could be listening to the coding guidelines, okay? Or you could be listening to anatomy channels or medical terminology channels on YouTube, okay? Pathophysiology channels on YouTube. That's 30 minutes you're listening to something that's study time, okay? Then at lunchtime, you could be working with flashcards. Now, flashcards does not have to be a big deal. I have always said you make a deck of 25. Once you get good with whatever card it is on the 25 deck, you start eliminating the ones that you know until you dwindle down to 5, and then you build up the next. You write the next 25 flashcards of things that you need to know, or things that you want to have in your brain. So then you write another 20 flashcards, and then you add them to that 5, and then you keep going with those and keep eliminating them. You get down to 5, you do it again, okay? So that way you always have something to work with. But that's 30 minutes you could be flipping through those flashcards and eating your lunch, okay? 30 minutes on the drive home, you're driving home, right? Or you're leaving work, you're driving home. You could be listening to something again. You can listen to videos on YouTube. Do not watch them, obviously, while you're driving a motor vehicle. You can listen. Just like you would listen to the radio, you can listen to those shows, okay? And so that way, that's more medical terminology, more anatomy that you're taking in, that you're digesting, that you're listening to, okay? So then you get home. You start with the kids, and you start, picking up the kids. You start doing whatever you need to do. You get the dinner ready. You get everything, squared away in the house. And then it's downtime. The kids are on their iPad, they're watching their TV, whatever they got. And you sit down with your workbook and you start working in that workbook, whatever subject that you're on. You work for 1 hour. Then at the end of that 1 hour, you take a break. I don't care if you're already on it. It's making sense. You're working. You need to stop, because your brain after 1 hour is going to start to get fatigued. And then nothing that you're doing is going to keep sinking in, because it's all going to be you're going to start to forget, and then it's going to get frustrating again. So you take a break, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, whatever you want to do. And then you come back and you finish that other hour. That is 3.5 hours that you've done in one day. We do this consistently for 5 days. That is 17.5 hours you've managed to put in for your schoolwork. 17.5. Now, don't stop there. You still have 2.5 hours that you can do on a Saturday or Sunday. Again, breaking it up 30 minutes at a time, 1 hour at a time. Boom. It is done. And then you start all over again. You have the rest of the weekend. After those 2.5 hours, you have the rest of the weekend to do with whatever you want to do, TikTok, whatever. You have all that time to be able to do that. This is going to require discipline. And they didn't tell you that when you started and you signed up for the program. They told you that it was going to be easy, and it's not. And you're learning that real fast. But I'm telling you right now, as somebody that's been in this career field, that understands what it takes to start getting past that, oh my gosh, what the heck did I get into, to, ooh, this is interesting. And you can get there too. But you need to set aside that time, okay? If you're not setting aside that time, you're setting yourself up to fail. That time has to be put in. And there's no, well, I can only do 10 hours. Then you don't want to do this bad enough. You don't have a, you want to quit because of your teacher or this or that. You have a problem with, you don't want it bad enough because you got maybe somebody else to fall back on. Or, maybe you just think that this is not as important as, whatever brought you to it. So that's what I'm saying right there. So if you can get it together and get your study time in, you're going to find it more enjoyable. 80 hours per month is what you should be studying every single month. And do not neglect those 2.5 hours because on the weekends, because 2.5 hours on the weekends, that's 10 hours of study time. And the person that's walking in with 80 hours of study time that they've been spending in per month is going to be a heck of a lot more confident than the person who's barely eking out 20 hours per month. Okay? And you're not going to want to give it up so easily if you've been investing time in it. You've already invested money. But once you start getting into that second part of investing the time to learning it, that's when it's really going to be even harder to want to give up. Because right now it's real easy for you to want to give it up. You're actually entertaining the idea. But the second that you start putting in more time, you're going to start really thinking about it before you just say, and acting so cavalier and giving it up. And as, on a side note, for my parents, when your kid is watching you, they may not understand what you're doing. They may actually be fussing at you because, oh, you don't have time to spend with us. It's not on a child to tell an adult what to do. Number one. Number two, they don't understand what you're trying to do for them. But they do understand if you're going to see things through. Or they do understand if you take personal responsibility and you're holding yourself accountable to completing a goal. That they do understand. That they're going to be able to see from you. Because if they see you quit, that means they can quit. Everything, and as soon as life gets hard or things get hard, they're going to want to quit. Well, my parents, they quit every time, they wanted to get into something with school and it got too hard, they just quit. So I can quit too. Do you want that? I don't think so. No parent wants that for their kid. To just be able to just give up so easily. They need to see you being disciplined and actually sitting there and making the time. And part of your study time is also looking at your books so that way you can start to expose your brain to the key words that are in the book and things like that. It's not hard. It is not hard. And just spending that time with it. You can still be around your family and still be, spending time with your books, and that's okay. Because most kids are doing whatever they need to do anyway with their iPad or whatever. They're doing their Xbox or whatever the heck, they're already doing their own thing, okay? So that's that one. And the final reason that you may be wanting to give up medical billing and coding, but you definitely should not give it up, especially for this reason, is if somebody in your family, in your friendships, so-called friendships, right? Because no true friend would discourage you from what you want to do. Or your relationships, right? Where they're just being discouraging. AI is going to take over. Oh, all the work's going to be sent overseas for cheaper labor. These are comments that are coming from people that do not understand our industry. They do not understand. Half the time they don't even know what coders do. But they sure do act like an authority. And they sure do act like, well, no, I don't want them to do it, so I'm going to be discouraging. I'm going to try to be as distracting as I possibly can. I am not going to let them do this. Or they may see that you're really enjoying it, and then they all of a sudden start adding those little seeds of doubt. Well, honey, you're not smart enough. You're not smart enough. Oh no, I don't think this is a good idea. It's just it's too much. It's too hard for you, honey. I've heard of those stories. It's horrible. Well, Blue, my husband doesn't want me to do this because they get jealous of that I'm working at the hospital and I'm going to be around all those people. So just because you work in a hospital doesn't mean that you're going to run off with a doctor, okay? Because majority of the time, they have the coders, if they're not embedded in the clinics, which that's a very small percentage of facilities that will allow that. I think that that's the best because we need to make it as convenient for them to come to us to ask questions. Well, what do I know? But most of the time, they have us, scrolled away somewhere. We're in a basement. A lot of times we're in the basement of facilities because of the weight. Normally before it was the weight of the records. Now there's not really paper records anymore. So there's a little bit of a difference in where we could be at, but potentially. But that's where, we're usually off in those departments, Just because you work in a hospital doesn't mean you're going to run off with somebody that's a doctor or somebody that's a nurse or whatever. And you could be working at the gas station and meet those people and run off with those people. You know what I mean? So it's ridiculous. But I do hear the stories. People do come to me and tell me, well, my fiance, my husband, my wife, they get mad because, I'm going to be working around all these smart people. They think I'm going to go off with them. This is not about that. This has nothing to do. Medical coding, health information, revenue cycle has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. You would be surprised about how many people get worried about that. And you shouldn't be worried about that because trust me, you have a lot to do and you have a lot to concentrate on and working and staying productive and being accurate. My office is embedded in the clinic. Okay. I am embedded in the clinic. I have my own office. Thank goodness. I love my own office. I will say that 100% of the time, well, 90% of the time, I'm in my office. I am in my office with the door closed because I'm having to sit here and concentrate on what it is that I'm reading, especially because I've been coding for the ER, which is really different from my ortho and my podiatry providers because I have worked with them so much and so well for many years, and I have gotten them perfectly how I want to get them. The query rate is very low. It's just almost negligible, the numbers of the amount of queries that I have to do, because they have gotten right. They have gotten everything like they're supposed to. They are well trained. And I am right there. And they know that as soon as they start messing up, if they start forgetting things, I'm going to be right there knocking at their door. Hey, what's going on? Why am I having to sit here and query you? Now that I'm in the ER, the ER is not mine, but I am helping in the ER, okay? I'm helping in the ER. But those providers are not mine. And it shows. But I have to work with it. And I have to think and I have to concentrate. So I have been very quiet. Even my providers are like, Blue, are you here? They'll come by and check on me because sometimes it's very difficult because I'm just trying to sit here and concentrate on this, but I will be Janie on the spot whenever they need me. And they know this. So with this said, it is not a worry. Okay? It is not a worry. You know, I don't worry about my providers. My providers do not worry about me. All right? And so this is not an issue because you have so much to do with work that you don't have time for tomfoolery. Okay? There is no time for Tom and his foolery. That's what I always say, Tom and his foolery, but it's tomfoolery. There's no time for it. There is time to be serious about what you got in front of you. Because again, work is work. You don't do nothing at work but work. That's what you do, you know? So again, with that said, sometimes your immediate family members, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever, they're not going to understand what it is that you're doing. And it's not on them to understand what you're doing. It's not on them. They can discourage you, or they can try to discourage you all they want to, but it's up to you to draw a line where you say, no, this is what I want because this is going to be beneficial to my family. It's going to be beneficial for growth and, you know, all of these things. It's not like how they think. And if they're truly your friend, they will support you. With your parents, sometimes it's very difficult. I went to school with some ladies who would say that their mothers would tell them, oh, honey, you're not smart enough. I was like, what? So I can't understand when people have that. But I know that it does happen. But it's okay. It's okay for them to not understand what we're doing. But it's up to you to be strong and to go walk through it, because eventually they will see that it is for a good reason. You are doing it because it is going to be good for you. But they don't always have to understand right away, but they'll see it. If they truly love you, they will see it. Okay? At least that's just my advice anyway. So with that said, do not quit your program just because it gets difficult. You do not have to quit it. You do not have to quit. You need to see things through. At least it's just my advice anyway. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.